Hey guys, I have a ton of new reviews coming your way. Over last semester I read a ton of good books and I really didn't have time to film with having 3 roommates. Yes, 3 girls living in one small room. Today I'm going to do a Brit Lit review. I took a British literature class last semester called Crime and Punishment and we read some really awesome stories. I wanted to share those with you guys. Alright, let's just get started. First book that I want to talk about is a graphic novel. I've never read a graphic novel before this one and it was really a challenge, but once I figured out the layout of how to read a graphic novel, it really helped me understand and helped the reading move a lot faster. First novel that I read is V for Vendetta by Alan Moore and illustrated by David Lloyd. Let's just say at the beginning of this book I really didn't like it. Now I'm in love with it. I think that the storyline is awesome. I absolutely loved it. It really made me want to keep reading. A short synopsis is dystopian society. It's, I think, the 80s, and there's a character named V, and he's kind of like a terrorist, but a terrorist for good. He encounters a citizen of this dystopian society named Evie, and she is brainwashed. She doesn't really know what freedom is. She just kind of blindly accepts the rules that are given to her, and this graphic novel is pretty much Evie's liberation and from this dystopian controlling society, just the journey that they make together. The sun is quickly setting, so I had to go open the blinds. This is awesome. I really loved it. It was a really good, if you've never read a graphic novel, I really recommend starting with this one. Just because the graphics are awesome. They're really easy to follow. The storyline, I think, is really easy to follow too. I haven't really seen the movie. I keep falling asleep every time I try to watch it, but I've heard that people are a little bit confused about the storyline on the movie, but while reading the graphic novel, I think that it's totally different. I really followed along. I really love this. 5 out of 5 stars if we're giving out stars. The next book that we read is The Fifth Child by Doris Lessing. I loved this book. It was one of the best novellas I've ever read. It starts off with a couple, Harriet and David Levat. The 1960s, they start off in love. They're kind of like this granola hippie couple. That's how I imagine them to be. They have this dream of having a huge house, having a ton of kids, just living that dream of big happy family. And then there's the 5th child, and his name is Ben, and he's quite a monster. If you are pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant soon, don't read this book. It will scare you. It's really frightening. It did give me nightmares, but I recommend this book. This book was awesome. I don't want to say any more because I don't want to spoil anything because it is so short. If you just have a few days, you're kind of bored, give this book a read. It's freaking awesome. I loved this book. It just makes you really think a lot. That's what I loved about the books that I read in this class, is they really made me think about things, and all of them were just great stories. The next book, this is the first novel that we read in this class. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. Oh, what can I say about Charles Dickens? I want to like him so much. And some of his characters I absolutely love. For instance, Nancy in Oliver Twist, one of my favorite characters of all time. But anyways, let's just talk about Oliver Twist. It's a pretty lengthy book. I mean, the text in it is pretty small. I don't know, it seemed like it took me forever to read. Like, forever. Most of you know the basic plotline of Oliver Twist. It's about an orphan boy who goes through misadventure after misadventure after misadventure and finally finds himself with criminals. He's trapped there. He can't get out. It's just going from the city to the country. Of course, it's set in London in the 1800s. It's just boring. I was just really bored. The only character that I loved was Nancy, like I said earlier, and she's awesome. If you read this book, read it for Nancy, if you have to read it. She'll quickly become your favorite character. She's a victorious character, a heroic character. She's one that I really could relate with. Oliver couldn't really relate with him. He's a whiny little bitch. Oliver Twist, 2 out of 5 stars if I had to give a star rating. Alright, the next book that we read was The Curious Incident of the Dog of the Nighttime. I really liked this book. I would have liked this book more if I wouldn't have read Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close before I read this book. Curious Incident of a Dog at Nighttime is about this boy named Christopher. He is autistic. I see him being about 12 years old. He witnesses a murder of a dog. Okay, he doesn't witness the murder. He just sees the dog dead, and he wants to know who killed the dog. Christopher is living with his dad at the time, and they get along, but they're not the best pair. There was some funny parts in the book, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because this is not my style of writing. I just didn't really like it that much. I'd probably give it 3 out of 4 stars. I know that a lot of people absolutely love this book. I'm just not one of them. So if you really liked Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, you're going to love this book. And also, just a good mystery that he unfolds within the novel. Those are the big novels that we read in that class. We also read Sherlock Holmes. We just actually read a few of the short stories. We have the complete Sherlock Holmes illustrated book here at home. I didn't take it to school with me, I just read them online. But I really enjoyed reading these Sherlock Holmes stories. My favorite was Scandal in Bohemia. I love Sherlock and Watson. Watson, he's my man. I love Watson. I really love how you have no clue how Doyle is going to piece the mystery together, and by the end of the novel, I was shocked every single time because of the excellent writing and all of the thought that went into these stories is just immaculate. I can't even imagine how much time Doyle put into each one of these stories. So I really love the stories. I love this version because it has the illustrations in there, and it's also just a beautiful book to have on a bookshelf with the gold pages. I love it. That's pretty much all that we read. We read a few other short stories like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and I really enjoyed those. Just lots of mystery stories, you know, talking about crime and punishment. So I hope that this review insight to a little bit of British literature about some crime and punishment. If you guys have any recommendations or any ideas about these books yourself, just go ahead and comment below. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye guys.